Hey everyone, I'm author, pop culturist, and industry insider Rob Perlman. I'm really excited to be joining you on the very first voyage of Comic-Con the Cruise. As you already know, the cruise is licensed by San Diego Comic-Con and it's a full ship charter. So not only will the 5-day trip from Tampa to Cozumel feel like a totally immersive pop culture experience, but it's going to be filled with fans like you, well, like us, enjoying everything you and we all love about pop culture. In addition to the amazing lineup of actors, we're also going to be celebrating some incredible franchises and anniversaries on board. And I'm thrilled to take a few minutes to introduce you to Justin Thompson, a senior artist at Schultz Studio, who will be joining us on board to celebrate the 75th anniversary of Peanuts. Hey, Justin, how you doing?
Doing great, Rob. Thank you.
That's great. 75 years of Peanuts.
Wow.
Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have
Grew up
thunk
with
it?
that strip. I mean, yeah, it was such a big thing in my life
Yeah.
when I was
Why,
growing up
why don't
as
you
a
give us
kid.
a little Justin 101?
Justin 101, who am I and all that stuff.
Who are you? Are you Jean
Uh,
Valjean? You can start singing if you like.
okay, so say what?
Are you Jean, who am I, Jean Valjean?
Oh, yes.
Lame Is reference. All right.
4601.
That was lame.
Uh, well, I'm an illustrator. I have my own comic strip called Mythical. It's over at gocomics.com. I've worked at the Schultz Studio as one of their house artists uh, for 20 years as of last May, and
Amazing.
still there. That place has sent me all over the world, and I've gotten to do so many wonderful things. I've illustrated about, I don't know, 6 or 7 books for them, and I wrote one and adapted about 2 that were published in Japan I wrote them, but I used Schultz's art. They're just those little books, kind of like Happiness is a Warm Puppy, about that size kind of thing.
Yeah. No, sweet.
And then I wrote one and illustrated it that was published by Simon and Schuster a couple of years ago called If I Gave the World My Blanket,
Oh,
featuring my favorite character, Linus.
uh,
And so I've been a super fan since I was a kid,
uh,
little kid growing up in the 60s. Peanuts kind of told me how to be a kid.
mm,
I flew kites. I played baseball with the kids down the street, which was a dirt road where I grew up in, north of Phoenix, Arizona, out in the desert. And I don't know, we were all big Peanuts fans, and we would talk about the specials when they'd come on TV. The next
mhm.
day it was all we talked about. And I don't know, we just behaved like those kids. And I'm not sure if that informed us how to be kids, or we just related to it because that's how kids were, you know,
Mhm.
hard to tell. But yeah, it was a huge, huge thing for me.
Did you wait in a pumpkin patch?
No, we didn't really have pumpkin patches where I grew up. They were more like cactus patches, and
Oh, so you did
there's
like a
no
spike thing.
no great cactus that would rise out of. Yeah, yeah. Spike's from Arizona. I'm from Arizona, so we have
Uh-huh.
that link.
Uh-huh.
Could
That's
always relate to the
awesome.
desert strips.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. And then so you made your way to Schultz Studio. For those who don't know what that is, can you explain what that is? Who works there?
The Schultz Studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. While I was in New York, I was an actor and a stuntman for about 15 years in the New York area, and then got married. We had a kid. We wanted to raise our kid on the West Coast because I'm kind of from there, and my former wife is from the Bay Area in Northern California. So we moved out here where I am now. And about a year after we moved here, I just saw a listing on Craigslist for the Schultz Studio, needing somebody who has cartooning experience and experience working with licenses. And I had been working with some licensed cartoon material in Manhattan for doing graphic design. So
Uh,
that got me in. And Jeannie Schultz, Charles Schultz's widow, is there almost every day, still to this day, still working. Charles Schultz's son Craig is also very hands-on, and he's at the studio a lot. He and his son write a lot of scripts for the Peanuts specials and the
mhm.
Peanuts movie that came out about 10 years ago. They wrote that. So there's a great lineage of Schultz's family, still alive in that studio and still guiding that ship. Boy, when I started, we had about 8 people that worked there, and now we have almost 40 people working there.
Amazing.
And one of the main things that we do at the studio is look at the product that has peanuts on it from all over the world.
Mhm.
Everything that they use the license for, from golf bags to lunch boxes and sweaters, anything that has peanuts on it has to be approved by the studio.
Sure.
So we have all these approval people who look at the content that's sent to us on a website. We check out photos of it. We, from concept, prototype, sample, we have to approve each stage and make sure everything that's out there is correct and the art's used right, that Charlie Brown's not standing around drinking a beer somewhere,
Mhm.
all that stuff. So it's a lot of quality control there. And I guess about for the last 10 to 15 years, we've been producing supplemental art for these licensees, and the art that's not in the strip. We'll try to put some things together and make, new art, but we usually try to use Schultz's art as much as we can.
Mhm.
I'd say 90% we still do that, but
Mhm.
every once in a while they'll need some art, and that's kind of where I come in.
Yeah.
I used to do the approvals, but now I'm mostly doing that.
Uh,
But we have some very talented people working at that studio, man. So really talented artists have come in since I've been there. People who know a lot about animation, and they produce, some of them have their own graphic novels that they make. I mean, it's really become a creative force since I've been there. When it started out as more of an approvals kind of thing, we've really blown up into an art studio now. I
yeah.
couldn't be prouder.
That's
Paige
amazing.
Braddock, a great cartoonist in her own right.
Mhm.
She is our creative director and I think president of the studio. And I've worked with her since I worked there, and she is just amazing, amazing, amazing boss.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, we're all good people there. So when you see peanut stuff, no, that comes from good people. Just say
I think it comes through. I think it comes through.
good.
So you were a Linus guy. What was it like to draw Linus officially for the first time?
Well, Linus is one of the most difficult characters to draw. All of Schultz characters are incredibly difficult to draw. Um, because there's hidden genius in his art that you don't realize until you try to copy it.
Uh-huh.
And I've talked to a lot of really famous cartoonists about this, and they all agree that it's frustratingly difficult to draw. The balance that he has in the characters when they're standing or moving, it's perfect and really hard to duplicate. The head size to the body size.
Hmm.
Um, just exactly where those eyes and nose come and how far down the mouth is. It takes a lot of time to try to get that down. And
Uh-huh.
Linus has this big dent in his head. It's
Yeah.
like a fontanelle that never grew out or something. And then you got to get his hair right, which is, it looks random, but it isn't. I mean, it's almost always the same the way he did it, the
Uh-huh.
curved lines. So you have to look at the line and try to see where he began and ended the line
Mm.
in order to get that arc just right. And boy, yeah, it's a tough one. Snoopy's tough too because of the odd circles and angles
Uh-huh.
and all that balance.
I
Very
would
difficult.
imagine I'm using the wrong word, but the choreography of Linus when he's using the blanket too.
Yeah, the choreography of the relationship between the blanket and his hands, or when he's moving.
Both, all of that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's really a difficult character to draw, but I don't know. He's always been my favorite since I was a little kid. I've always related to him the most.
Uh-huh.
So it was, drawing that book, and anytime I work on Linus, it's a labor of love. It's like
Uh-huh.
drawing myself as a little kid here.
Oh, that's sweet.
I did have a blanket.
You did.
Yes, I did.
Nice.
It's just like
I
him.
I love Linus, but I also have a soft spot for Woodstock.
Oh yeah. I wrote a book for Japan called Small is Beautiful. It was coordinated with a program design that they wanted to feature Woodstock. So, you know, each page, kind of like Happiness is a Warm Puppy, same kind of format. Each thing was a small is beautiful, but small is, and then it'd have these different illustrations of Woodstock doing different things, you
Uh-huh.
know. And I loved working on that book. Woodstock's huge in Japan.
Really?
Woodstock and Snoopy are really it. They love those two characters over there.
Uh-huh.
And Japan's very big for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Are there any characters that you, aside from Linus, whether it's in a group shot, you want to try something new with them? I understand that you're sort of limited to the
Yeah.
original model, but
Mhm.
have you tried to stretch the boundaries?
No, we don't want to stretch the boundaries too much because everything that we try to create for the studio, and this counts for the animations that we're doing now that are put up on Apple TV, Snoopy Show, Camp Snoopy, and then specials that feature one character. Like we have a one that focuses on Franklin and another one focuses on Marcy, and there may be another one. Uh,
Marcy.
yeah, I'm involved in those two as a design consultant, and I think there's about 6 or 7 of us at the studio who work with Wildbrain, who creates those up in Canada, overseeing everything. But my point about that is that everything that you see that's created now, be it the old comic books we did with Boom Studios about 10 years ago, or these new animations, the situations that these kids get in and their character, all are sourced from the comic strip,
Mm,
from the nearly 50 years of um, their antics, how they think, how they feel. We don't break character.
mhm.
We don't want to do something that Schultz never did,
Yeah.
you know, and it could be the smallest infinitesimal thing. One frame, maybe one character says something about something that
Mhm,
that may be fair game. Maybe we can expand that, what they said, into a bigger idea. But
mhm,
it all has to be sourced from that main thing. And I think the fidelity to that may have something to do, or maybe everything to do, with the strip's continued success and Snoopy's continued popularity.
yeah.
We're blowing up. I mean, the last few years, we have seen a resurgence of this license like I've never seen in the 20 years I've been there. I'm not sure why, but it's really resonating with young people right now.
Mhm.
Again, that's so great to see.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because
I know.
so many times we look at young people and kids and we worry because everything has changed so much in the last 20, 25 years with the internet and the phones. We're like, what's happening? Yeah, kids are so different now that, you know, we can hardly relate to them.
Mhm,
When we see that this is surging again and that there's so much interest, it just reaffirms that, you know, God, this touches something in everybody, these stories, these kids,
yeah.
that no matter what kind of wild stuff happens in our society, it's still sourced somehow in this humanity that's in the
Mhm.
strip. And I'm very proud of that.
You should be.
Uh,
I play in a lot of different licensed and pop culture sandboxes myself, and
mm,
I appreciate the fact of having to sit there and be like, I can't believe I can get to do this.
oh God, it's so great.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And
Yeah,
it's
that's why I stayed here 20 years. I'm no intention of leaving.
good.
They can't get rid of me. I love the license too.
If Peanuts can be around for 75 years, you could be around the studio for 75 years too. Why
Yeah,
not?
at
Why
least
not?
5 or 10 more before I
Yeah, that's
retire.
all.
Who
That's
knows?
all. Before we go, I'd love to hear more about your other non-Peanuts work.
Oh, okay. Yeah. My comic strip Mythical.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a lisp and you're saying mystical,
Uh-huh.
you know, so it's mythical, and it's characters from mythology mostly. And I depict them as little kids, you know, maybe 10, 12 years old.
Uh-huh.
And tickle, which is, you know, hopefully it'll make you laugh. So myth, tickle, mythical.
Uh-huh.
And it's over on gocomics.com. And I've been on Go Comics for about 17 years, you know, putting the strip up. It's a lot better now than it used to be. I've learned a lot over all those years. But I'm putting together a book right now, a collection of the best strips, and be a graphic novel size, about 200 some pages. And I'm gonna have that available for everybody in December.
That's
And I'll bring it on the cruise.
oh, you'll
Hopefully
bring
it'll
on the
be
cruise. Fantastic.
available in the gift shops.
Fantastic. That's great. I'm so glad you're going to be on the cruise. I
Me
hope
too.
you'll share a plate of popcorn and toast
Yeah.
with me in honor of Thanksgiving. And I know everyone's going to love to see you on board too. We've got a lot in store for them, a lot in store for you too. Um, so you'll have ample opportunity to meet the fans, and all the
Right.
fans at home will get to really soak in the Justin of the whole thing and enjoy peanuts.
Well,
So
I
thanks.
love talking to people, and I can't wait to meet anybody who wants to talk to me about anything. I love connecting with new people and
uh,
finding out where their fandom comes from, things
mm,
like that. It's
Holding a
just,
football, inviting them to kick.
oh my God. Yeah, right by the edge of the boat.
That's all. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much, Justin.
Thanks, Rob. This has been really nice of you to do. Thank
Oh,
you.
of course. Of course. We're looking forward to seeing everybody in February. Thanks. Bye.